Hello, welcome. The title of this lesson is Sketching Quadratic Functions, where we are going to find the minimum and maximum values of the parabola. A quadratic function is one of the more recognizable and useful functions in all algebra. The function describes a graceful U-shaped curve called a parabola that you can quickly sketch and easily interpret. The standard form of a quadratic function is ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, c are real numbers. However, the standard form can be converted into vertex form by the process of completing the square. From the vertex form, we can determine the shape of the graph, if it's smiling or sad, the turning point, and hence the maximum or minimum point, the line of symmetry, the x and y intercepts. If the function has a positive quadratic term, the parabola opens upwards. If the function has a negative x squared term, the parabola opens downwards. Let's look at one example where the quadratic equation is in standard form. We change it to the vertex form by completing the square. Follow the steps. Step 1. Determine the shape of the curve. From the x squared term, which is positive, the parabola is a smiling face. Step 2. The turning point. From the vertex form, we know the turning point is 1, negative 9. Step 3. Set y equals to 0. This is to determine the x-intercepts. These are the points that cuts the x-axis. Step 4. Set x equals to 0 to determine the y-intercept. Finally, determine the line of symmetry. This is the line that cuts the parabola into two equal halves. Ensure that you have all the 5 points before you sketch the parabola. Let's begin. Draw the axis. Sketch the parabola and ensure that it is symmetrical. Label the turning point, the x-intercepts, the y-intercept, the axis, the origin, and the quadratic graph. Draw the line of symmetry with a dashed line and label. What happens if your quadratic equation is in factorized form? We follow the same step. Step 1. Determine the shape of the curve. Since the quadratic function has a negative quadratic term, it will be a parabola that opens downwards. Step 2 is set y equals to 0 to determine the x-intercepts. Step 3. Set x equals to 0. This is to determine the y-intercept. Step 4. Calculate the turning point. Since the shape of the graph is open downwards, it will be a maximum point. So the turning point is calculated by taking the average of the two roots. To calculate the corresponding y, substitute the value of x into the quadratic equation. And finally, locate the line of symmetry. Let's begin to sketch the graph. If you draw the axes, ensure that your axes are straight lines by drawing using a ruler. Label the origin and draw your parabola to ensure symmetry. Locate the x-intercept and plot the points correctly. The y-intercept as well. Draw the line of symmetry and indicate the turning point. Label the axis, the origin, and the curve. Whenever you sketch a quadratic parabola, ensure these 5 steps. Let's summarize all the steps again. Step 1. Determine the shape of the graph. Is it smiling or sad? Or is it opening upwards or downwards? Step 2. Find the x-intercepts by setting y equals to 0. Step 3. Find the y-intercept by setting x equals to 0. And step 4. Find the turning point. Step 5. Find the line of symmetry. You have all the 5 steps and now you are ready to sketch more quadratic functions. Thank you.